Flooding is one of the most common natural disasters, and it can happen anywhere, even in places that are not traditionally prone to floods. Floods can cause significant damage to property and infrastructure, and they can also put people's lives at risk. That's why it's essential to be prepared for flooding and to have a plan in place in case of an emergency. This video will discuss steps you can take during and after a flood, as well as how to prepare for a flood as put forth by FEMA and the Ready.gov website. First, it's important to know your risk for floods. You can visit FEMA's Flood Map Service Center to know the types of flood risk in your area. You can find the link on our resource page. Simply put in your address to see which areas near you are at risk of flooding. You can sign up for your community's warning system. The Emergency Alert System, or EAS, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration NOAA Weather Radio also provide emergency alerts. Even if you're not in a historically risky area for floods, the rapid pace of a changing climate, along with its associated climate chaos, can result in extreme rainfall events along with flash flooding. Purchase flood insurance. Purchase or renew a flood insurance policy. Homeowners insurance policies do not cover flooding. Seriously consider purchasing a flood policy. It typically takes up to 30 days for this to go into effect, so the time to buy is well before a disaster happens. Many people who are affected by flooding are surprised to learn they don't have flood insurance when they need it the most. Make a plan for your household, including your pets, so that you and your family know what to do, where to go, and what you'll need to protect yourself from flooding. Learn and practice evacuation routes, shelter plans, and flash flood response. Gather supplies, including non-perishable foods, cleaning supplies, and water for several days in case you must leave immediately or if services are cut off in your area. Watch our videos on evacuation and communications plans, as well as how to make emergency go and stay kits. Preparing your home for flooding. Consider installing flood barriers or sandbags to prevent water from entering your property. Sandbags can be placed around doors and windows, and flood barriers can be installed around the perimeter of your house. Elevate electrical appliances such as washing machines, dryers, and refrigerators to prevent damage. Move them to higher floors if possible, or place them on blocks to keep them above the expected water level. Ensure that gutters and drains are clear of debris to prevent blockages. Blocked gutters and drains can cause water to back up, causing flooding. If you have a sump pump, ensure that it's working correctly. Test it before flooding is expected, and consider installing a battery backup in case of a power outage. Move valuable items to higher ground, and if you can't move large items such as furniture, consider elevating them to prevent water damage. Secure outdoor items such as lawn furniture, grills, and garden tools. Move them to higher ground or secure them in a shed or garage. During a flood, evacuate immediately if told to do so. Never drive around barricades, as local responders use them to safely direct traffic out of flooded areas. Contact your healthcare provider if you or someone in your house is sick and needs medical attention. Wait for further care instructions and shelter in place if possible. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911. Listen to EAS and the NOAA Weather Radio or local alerting system for current emergency information and instructions regarding flooding. Do not walk, swim, or drive through floodwaters. Turn around. Don't drown. So let's take a moment to expand on the reasons to stay out of floodwaters. Fast-moving floodwater can be much more dangerous than standing water because it can exert a tremendous amount of force on anything in its path. It can sweep away people, animals, and vehicles, making it challenging to stay upright or navigate. Even if the water appears to be moving slowly, it can still be dangerous, as it can be much deeper than it looks and can have strong currents that are not visible on the surface. Additionally, fast-moving water can contain debris, such as branches, rocks, and other objects that can cause injury or damage. As the water rushes over the ground, it can pick up these objects and carry them along with the current. On the other hand, standing water can also be dangerous, particularly if it's contaminated with sewage, chemicals, or other toxins. Exposure to contaminated floodwater can lead to skin infections, gastrointestinal problems, and respiratory issues. Additionally, standing water can provide a breeding ground for mosquitoes and other insects, which can carry diseases. Standing water can also cause structural damage to buildings and infrastructure, which can be dangerous for people who are trapped inside. Buildings can collapse and roads can become impassable, making it difficult for rescue services to reach those in need. Stay off bridges over fast-moving water. Fast-moving water can wash bridges away without warning. Stay inside your car if it is trapped in rapidly moving water. You can get on the roof if water is rising inside the car. Get to the highest level if trapped in a building. Only get on the roof if necessary, and once there, signal for help. Do not climb into a closed attic to avoid getting trapped by rising floodwater. After a flood. Pay attention to authorities for information and instructions. Return home only when authorities say it's safe. Avoid driving except in emergencies, as flooding can cause significant damage to houses and can also have negative impacts on the health of those who are affected. It's imperative that you deal with damage immediately. Here are some ways that flooding can damage a house and impact health. Flooding can cause structural damage to a house, particularly if it's left unaddressed. Water can weaken the foundation, walls, and floors, which can lead to instability, and in severe cases, collapse. Additionally, moisture can lead to the growth of mold, which can weaken structures and lead to health problems. Flooding can cause electrical damage to a house. Water can damage electrical wiring, leading to shorts and fires. Additionally, flooding can cause power outages, which can impact medical equipment such as ventilators, dialysis machines, and oxygen concentrators. Be aware of the risks of electrocution. Do not touch electrical equipment if it is wet or if you are standing in water. Turn off the electricity to prevent electrical shock if it is safe to do so. Floodwaters can be contaminated with sewage, chemicals, and other toxins. As previously mentioned, exposure to contaminated floodwater can lead to serious health problems, particularly in people with pre-existing conditions such as asthma. Wear work gloves, protective clothing, and boots during cleanup, and use appropriate face coverings or masks if cleaning mold or other debris. People with asthma and other lung conditions and/or immune suppression should not enter buildings with indoor water leaks or mold growth that can be seen or smelled. Children should not take part in disaster cleanup work. And finally, use a generator or other gasoline-powered machinery only outdoors and away from windows. In conclusion, flooding can cause significant damage to houses and can also have negative impacts on the health of those who are affected. It's important to take flooding seriously and take appropriate measures to prepare for it, to stay informed, and evacuate if necessary to minimize any danger to life, property, and health. This wraps up another video about getting informed as it relates to your emergency preparedness. Check out our website to learn more about getting informed, making a plan, building a kit, and staying informed so that your family's prepared when a disaster happens.